Hey guys, Peter here to tell you about the latest from Lord of the Lost, The Heartbeat of the Devil EP, out May 6 on Napalm Records. This release has 5 tracks, 22 minutes in length, and they are a German gothic metal band. What can you expect from this EP? Well, before I tell you exactly what these songs are all about, let's talk a little bit about the structure and soundscape. As far as the structure goes, very simple. You have 2 different versions of The Heartbeat of the Devil, one opening it up and the other one closing it down. In between, you have 3 covers that offer some similarities in terms of the output, in terms of the experience, but they obviously had very different starting points altogether. As far as the sound goes, I like the fact that this EP, on one hand, is not chaotic, and on the other hand, is not completely balanced. There's a sense of movement. You see the evolution of these tracks from the first all the way to Children of the Dam, which is the 3rd track. That's really when you reach the climax of sound, of a robust experience, of heaviness even, and then after that there's a little bit of a decline, and the tracks go more into an emotional avenue. They feel a lot more connected, they're more stripped down, they depend on other elements to really drive the experience. Through this movement, through this peak and these valleys, the things that stay constant is definitely the use of keyboards, pianos, and the vocals. These are the 2 elements that glue the entire experience and allow this record to offer some diversity, but at the same time still be very connected, very cohesive throughout, really making for an interesting experience, a lot different than what you normally get from EPs. Experimental, yes, but not to the point where everything feels a little bit disconnected from one another. There is a purpose with every single song. There is a purpose with the place in which the songs were put on in order to give the listener this incredible sense of fluidity, continuity, growth, learning, development, so that the overall experience is as robust as possible, not just sound-wise, but also from what you're going to get out of it. Now, as far as the songs are concerned, like I said, it starts off with The Heartbeat of the Devil. This is the single edit, so it's slightly different from the original that was part of Judas. A very interesting track. It feels less darker than the original, feels a little bit more upbeat, more perhaps clubby. It has more of a bouncy vibe to it. The synthesizers help in that perspective, and the vocal range really enhances that openness. There's a little bit more air, there's a little bit more brightness into how this song comes across, adding to the overall flow of this release and making the song feel a lot more impactful, feeling like it has a lot more movement than the original. Then after that comes Judas, a Lady Gaga cover, and this is an absolute logic cover. I mean, if you release an album called Judas and now you're following that album up with an EP, you almost have to include this song in here. I don't think you can walk away from it. And I felt like they did a wonderful job with this cover because sonically it feels like a segue from The Heartbeat of the Devil. The 2 songs feel almost intertwined, like one really continues where the other one left off. A lot of the same elements that you see in one, you're going to find in the other. It's a great track vocally. It feels very impactful. It feels very warm. It feels very emotional. It doesn't feel like a cover. It almost feels like a Lord of the Lost original style track in terms of how it's constructed, how it's put together, how it's delivered. The bass and keys are fundamental on this song in terms of the texture that the track has, the life that this song has, the backbone of the track itself. So it's a really interesting cover, really interesting edition of this song that fits perfectly in the fluidity that started off with The Heartbeat of the Devil. And then next comes Children of the Dam, an Iron Maiden cover. This is my favorite song on this release. This is my favorite cover on this EP. I just love the sound, the experience, because the other 2 songs are kind of building one off of the other, and this one is that cherry on top. It just feels a lot bigger. It has a lot more texture. It has a lot more layers, has a lot more elements. The strings sound phenomenal. The cellos are absolutely outstanding throughout this track. They add a sense of darkness to this song, but never really grounding the track, never really taking the momentum away from the song itself. The piano and bass, once again, fundamental in how this track feels and how this track sounds and how this track moves, turning this song into an absolute Lord of the Lost classic. It's just phenomenal. If this track was included, the way it sounds, if this was included in Judas and people didn't know that this was a cover, they would think that this is one of their original songs. It sounds like a Lord of the Lost song. It has incredible sound, incredible movement. The vocal range is phenomenal, from the cleans to the harsh vocals. A lot of sound, a lot of experience, a lot of different textures, a lot of different moods that this song gives the listener. And it's a track that's always moving, always morphing, always evolving, taking something away, adding something new, but always with a sense of purpose, always with a sense of having a path. Phenomenal cover. Like I said, my favorite cover, my favorite song on the entire release. After that, we get Wig in a Box, a Hedwig and the Angry Inch cover. And here is where you start to see the decline. You start to see the EP going in a different direction, becoming a lot more connected, a lot more emotional, a lot warmer, if you will, creating a little bit more of a soul, leaving a lot of that club vibe that the first two songs, even going into Children of the Dam, you still see a lot of that electronic sound as far as the synthesizers is concerned. You start to see that fading away a little bit more on this track, specifically as how it starts. It's just piano and vocals, then eventually gets a little bit more robust, it gains a little bit more sound, but you start to see that side of the release fading away, and that more emotional side that depends heavily on piano and vocals to really carry you through, coming in and starting to define what these two last tracks are going to be all about. Because then the last song is the Heartbreak of the Devil piano version. I don't think you can have this song at the end to close off things without having Wig in a Box beforehand sounding the way that it does. One becomes the segue to the other. If you don't have it in this format, this piano cover at the end feels completely out of place. There's no sense of sequence. So these two tracks are very important because they connect what came before with what comes after. So I love this connection, and I love the Heartbeat of the Devil piano version. This is to me the best of all the versions of this song because it feels more spiritual. So it has a different impact when you're listening to the lyrics, when you're listening to the vocals carrying you through this song. It just resonates from a different angle, from a different perspective, and for a track that has this lyrical content, this is perhaps the best way to deliver it. It makes the point across a lot cleaner, a lot more precise, a lot more direct. Beautiful song, beautiful piano, beautiful vocals. You don't have to add anything else to it in order to make this song as big, as impactful as it is. This is it, Lord of the Lost, the Heartbeat of the Devil, out May 6th on Napalm Records. Let me know your thoughts on this EP, on the singles. Use the comment section below. I'll be reading those and getting back to you. Take care, guys.